I was hearing all this crazy stuff about how the internet was destroying us. At the same time, we were looking for a new head of our cognitive neuroscience program. And I was reading contemporary neuroscience and thinking there's so little connection between what people are actually thinking about the brain in the 21st century and what they're saying about how the internet is destroying us. One of the most famous, and by now it's a cliche, how many people know about this experiment? I think now it's been parodied, you can see it on YouTube, it's been reenacted so many times that most people know it. When I first saw it, I didn't. And for some people who didn't raise their hand, let me explain what happens.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
About 60% of people in normal conditions never see the gorilla, right? The point of that experiment is very, very simple. It's because the way we pay attention to anything in the world is by not paying attention to everything else, right? If you try to see the whole picture, and you're convinced you can see the whole picture, you're even more likely to miss the gorilla. I did happen to see the gorilla the first time, and it's not because I'm good at this. I've now taken probably 30 or 50 attention experiments, and I failed them all. The reason I saw the gorilla the first time, it was maybe 7 years ago, is it was an event being put on for distinguished professors at Duke. My office was putting on the event. I was kind of making sure that people were coming in and getting their seats. I was paying attention to the caterer, and I'm dyslexic. I looked at this and thought, there's no way I'm going to do that. No way I'm going to count that, and I've got more important things to do. Because I was not paying attention to counting the basketballs, I saw the gorilla.
Since we're talking about technology revolution, we were saying when it comes to implementing new technologies in the classroom, who should be responsible for that? Should it be the students, the teachers, the administrators? Because right now, we see that happening in different ways. You know, like the students know the technology before the teachers do, right, and they bring it in. I was just kind of curious what your comments on that were.
I think everybody in Tara's class read the part of my book called Project Classroom Makeover, where we gave free iPods to students back at the time when the iPod commercials were those gals and guys with like hair flying. They were silhouetted. Do you remember dark, bright colors? At that time, iTunes barely existed, barely existed. It was before podcasting existed. There was no video on your iPod. It was just a music listening device. And we did something a little mean. We gave them only to the first year class, and then by like a week later, the sophomores, juniors, and seniors were saying, hey, we paid tuition, why don't we get free iPods? And we said, wow, we blew it. How about this? If you can come up with an educational use for the iPod and convince a professor to do it and to use it in your class, we'll give you and the prof and the students a free iPod. Within one semester, more iPods were given away to ideas that students generated than were given away free to the freshman class. And of course, that's what we were trying to do. But it was an exercise not just in technology, it was an exercise in flipping the classroom so that students were generating the ideas. Students were given a motivation for talking to their profs, and the profs kind of got into it too, and finding uses for the iPods. There was no department where they didn't come up with some amazing thing. But that was an example of students having a charge to make change. You know, sometimes it takes a collaboration of the right teacher, the right students, and the right administrators to make it happen. But again, I think if you make something easy and palatable, that you can make a disruption without making somebody feel like they're out of control.